Hello, everyone. Welcome to PJFM and this conversation. I'm Peter Decherney. I teach film and media studies at Penn. And it's really my pleasure today to speak with Levi Zini, who's the director of YERUSALEM, the incredible story of Ethiopian Jewry. Levi, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I would like to say the name is Jerusalem, not Jerusalem, Jerusalem, because that's the way Beta Israel, the Ethiopian Jews, pronounce the name of Jerusalem, and they didn't mean to the geographical place of Jerusalem. They meant for something religious, not a geographical place. That's a So they call it the yearning to Jerusalem.
No, that's a really important distinction. That it's a mythical place, not the real city.
Mythical place, correct.
Yeah. Okay, let's come back. I want to come back to that a little later. But first, people may not know about your previous work. Could you tell us a little bit about what kind of filmmaker you are and maybe how this film fits into your previous work?
I'm quite a senior, and I'm a documentary filmmaker. I did a lot of films in very different genres, and Jerusalem, in a way. I would like to say something. Israel is an immigrant country. I mean, the state is an immigrant country. Canada, Australia, they are an immigrant country as well. But the most important difference is that in the state or in Canada or in Australia, they dream about the future, about the American dream. That's all. That's what unites the people. In Israel, we do dream about the American dream, but in the same time, we dig deeper to the earth to find our roots. So we would like to make something between the past and the future, and that was so complicated. It's one of the reasons that Israel is so complicated. Just one of them. There are others, but this is one of them. So I came to the Ethiopian story, the Ethiopian Jews story, from this point of view, the point of view of immigrants that are coming to a place that were here for more than 2,000 years. I mean, and they pass it from father to son and for generations. And what is important here is that in 48, when Israel established, Israel called every Jews everywhere to come and make Aliyah. But they didn't want, and they didn't try to bring the Ethiopian Jews. It's because of that Israel is the Orthodox Jews are very dominate Israel, and they didn't want, and they was not sure enough that the Ethiopian tribe, which was very small, we'll come to this in a minute, they are real Jews. It took about 30 years till Israel recognized them as a Jews and as a law of return. I mean, and then it started their journey or their exodus, which was very, very, very difficult. And that's what we are telling in the film. And what more that we are telling about, it's about their history, about those it's 2,500 years that they kept their Judaism in a Christian country. And we should notice that the Ethiopian Christianity is quite similar to Judaism. And actually, the Ethiopian believe that they are descendants of Shlomo HaMelech and Malkat Shva and Queen Sheba and Queen Solomon. They believe, not the Jews.
Yeah.
And they, in a way, we have in the film a bishop, an Ethiopian bishop, a Christian bishop that says, we are Bnei Israel, we are son of Israel, we are the real son of Israel. So they kept their Judaism in such a very, very tough surrounding. And it was amazing, in my opinion, how they managed to do it. So that's something that we are asking ourselves during the film. And of course, we are describing the Ethiopian exodus to Israel, which was a journey that started in Ethiopia. And from Ethiopia, they walked in a very dangerous way, weeks to Sudan. And in Sudan, they stayed in a very awful refugee camps. And from there, with the help of Mossad people and with a lot of participation of the Ethiopian Jews themselves, and a lot of the participation of Jews all around the world, mostly from North America, they managed to arrive to Israel. And here they are facing quite hard time, let's face it. But it's an amazing story about the tribes that did it, let's say, did it.
Yeah, so why tell this story now?
It's also a right time to tell a story about immigrants that came to Israel. It's also correct. And there is, because in a way in Israel, they are facing racism. And it's quite easy to say they are this racism because they are black Jews. And you can say, and you are not, you all your life, you will be an Ethiopian Jew. You can't go in and just be part of the society. And they are facing quite bad times. At the moment, we are making a film about 3 young women that lost their brothers because of police brutality, and how they face it and how they continue life with that. It's a problem in Israel.
Yeah. So has the film been able to start new conversations? How have people responded to the current film, and does it help? Does it change the conversation about Israel today?
The YERUSALEM, you mean?
Jerusalem, yeah.
I'll tell you something. It's the feature long Jerusalem that you are going to see was cut out of a series of 5 episodes. And in those 5 episodes, I think most of the young Ethiopians that was born in Israel and raised in Israel, they know very little about their past, their parents' past, and for them it was an opportunity to know about their history, about their culture, about their Masoret. How do you say Masoret in English? About their culture and about their religious and about their parents. So it was very, I mean, in my opinion, it was a quite, it served good purpose. It was a good, yeah.
Yeah. So did people want to talk to you and tell the story? Was it hard to unearth the archival footage?
No, it was quite easy. I mean, I worked with with Ethiopian Jews, young Ethiopian Jews, and most of them was very happy to tell their story. Very happy. Yeah.
Did you work with other communities of Ethiopian Jews in Israel, or people who are still in Ethiopia?
Most of the people we talked was in Israel. I mean, there is very little stayed in Ethiopia, and then in the last decade there is a few people that arrived to Israel and went back to Ethiopia. So one of them was the Adiso Masala, which was a leader of the Ethiopian Jews in the 80s, and he went back to Ethiopia, and we went to Ethiopia to shoot him. And there is a few other people that we went to Ethiopia to shoot, to make the interviews with them and to show their life over there nowadays.
So how do you tell the story of the Ethiopians who are still in Ethiopia? The Falash Mora, as they're sometimes called.
I think when we are coming to speak about the Falashmura, it's a human issue. I mean, it's a kind of a family that was separated. 1976, they count, it's not the right saying, but they count, the Jewish Sochnut Yehudit started to ask, to count how many Jews there are in Ethiopia. In 76, there was 28,000 Jews in Ethiopia. To Israel arrived in till the 90s, 1991, with such Solomon operation, arrived about 25,000. So there are just few Jews that was written as a Jews was left there. Also, Falashmura is a people that in ancient time convert to Christianity, and they lived as a Christianity out of the Beta Israel, as they call themselves, community. But today, what's happening in the Falashmura, that there is a lot that want to come back to the Judaism, and there is a lot of that have families in Israel. So I think it's a human issue, and we have to unite families. That's something that we have to do. I must say that I don't like those camps that some Israelis convert Jews because when they convert them to the Orthodox way, they have a very unique religious as the Ethiopian Jew, and I'm not sure that when we are trying to convert them to the Orthodox way, it's a correct way to do it. But that's Israel. What can we do?
Yeah, so as you're alluding to, it's a complicated story to tell for Israel.
We used to tell the story as a brave of our brave guys, soldiers from the Mossad and from the Air Force and so on. But the most brave people here was Ethiopian Jews themselves. We shouldn't forget it. From time to time, we are forgetting it in Israel.
No, exactly.
They are the brave people, no doubt. Israel did send the Mossad and did send army and so on to help them arrive to Israel. Yes, she did it. But when they come here, they face racism. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the second half of the question is the other part of the story is that it's been very difficult for the Ethiopian Jews to become part of Israeli society.
It's difficult, but now it's they have the second, third generation which are Israeli. I mean, they know they know the language, they know the way to deal with the Israelis. So I mean, they will be. It will take time, but I think it will be okay.
How much of this story of the Exodus about Ethiopian Jewish culture, how much of it is widely known in Israel? What parts of your story, the story you tell, will be surprising to most people?
About the Exodus, we know a lot because, by the way, there was a lot of films that did it, especially because it's a great Mossad operation and so on. It's a brave story, and we know very little about the Ethiopians themselves. I must say that when the Ethiopian arrived to Israel, the Israelis was sure that we took from the trees. We took them from the trees from an ancient place, and they are so not modern. And our brave soldiers took them on their hands and brought them to the Holy Land. It's not true. That's the way we kept in Israel, faced the Ethiopian Exodus. And that's something that I try to change by my film.
An important correction to that story.
Yeah.
Tell me about the holiday of Sigid or Sigid, which is actually being celebrated tomorrow, or whenever people see this, the film will be shown on Sigid. So that's now a national holiday in Israel. How is it celebrated?
In Jerusalem, there is a place that most of the Ethiopian Jews are going to there. But let's speak about the Sigd from another point, if you don't mind. When I said that they succeeded to capture Judaism in a very tough circumstances in Ethiopia, they had some points that helped them keep it. First of all, they lived in a community, small communities all around. And the Sigd was in Ethiopia, what they did, they walked from the villages to a mountain and gathered all the communities. So, and then again, what is great there, most of them found their wife or husband, I mean, in this gathering, because they never had a wedding in the same village, because it was a family. There is another habit that they have. You are not going to marry somebody that is from your family 7 generations backwards. I mean, they check 7 generations backwards. Otherwise, you are not allowed to get married. So this gathering kept them the way to keep contact in other communities in the villages, and to keep all the villages connected somehow by marriage or whatever. Somehow, that's one of the ways. One of the way to keep their Judaism all this time, all those long generation. And here it's it's a gathering. It's a gathering in Jerusalem. I must say, most of the Israeli people doesn't give it I'm not taking it very seriously, but a lot of Ethiopians are coming to Jerusalem to be together. There was a lot of
Right.
what's the rabbinic,
Yeah, exactly.
and they pray and they admit, and it's a gathering, again, gathering of the community as it was in a way back there in Ethiopia.
Yeah, just so people know, Kessim, the word you use, that these are Ethiopian
Kessim,
religious
yeah.
leaders. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the new film. This is a very important and difficult topic, right? About police violence in Israel, racially motivated police violence. Can you tell us a little more about the story, this new story, the new film you're working on?
The last 20 years, 13 young Ethiopian guys were found their deaths because of police brutality. And what really annoying is that no policeman never stood from a judge was punished about it. So in 2019, is the summer, a guy, a young Ethiopian guy, was shot by a police officer. I mean, there was an argument, as a policeman, as he said, was shooting the floor, and then something jumped and killed the young guy. Solomon Teka, his name. And that's brought out all the community shouting that they are looking for justice. Those two guys that worked with me when I did Jerusalem started filming in these demonstrations, and they came with three women heroes. I don't know how to say it. All the three lost their brothers because of this police brutality, and they became a team, and we are telling their story. It's a story about the mothers, which was the first generation of immigration to Israel, the second generation, and there is already third generation for both of the women that are heroine, and that's a story. It's a sad story in a way, but in a hope. There is a hope that the third generation will not suffer the same suffering.
Do you try to connect it to similar incidents in the U.S. or globally?
I mean, it started when in the state, or during the days that we shoot in the state, there was Black Lives Matters, those demonstrations, and the Black Jews in Israel, the Ethiopian Black Jews in Israel, felt quite the same. I mean, it's again police brutality about Black people. So that's in a way that's what connected this story to the people of the state, the people in the state.
Sounds like a really important story to tell, and an important film, and hopefully the Philadelphia Jewish and Film and Media Festival will show it next year.
Next year,
I look forward to seeing it.
It will be ready next year. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, anything else you want to tell people who are about to see your film?
No, I just want them to enjoy it. I mean, there's a wonderful people telling the stories there. Really interesting people and wonderful people. And I hope they will enjoy it. It's a exodus, a journey, very fascinating journey, very dangerous journey. And the happy end is not that happy end, but it's a happy end anyway.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing your film here, for talking to me, and hopefully we'll see you.
It's a pleasure. I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you will enjoy it. Thank you.